Hello, welcome to Code and Box Automation Lab. This is Shoreful. This lecture it's about arrays in Java. So what is array exactly? So arrays are the collection of similar data types. It means say we have a very basic fundamental concept, like when you have any data like 5 integer 5 data, and if you want to store the data, we have to put that data in a variable, say variable A. So it means you are assigning variable 5 to variable A, so to hold that data, and it will save the data to our Java virtual memory or in heap. Similarly, when you have a multiple like number of data, and you want to hold number of data in a single variable, that time we can use array. This is the that's the way array concept come to the picture, to save or store multiple or collection of similar data type. It should be all of them same data type. Like if it's a 5 data, all of them integer, then you can store 5 data in a variable, following the array concept. That's why it's called arrays are the collection of similar data type, and each variable in an array is known as array element. Okay, so example, and this is the one of the array. Say this is array variable, right? And in a memory, in a Java memory, it's get space like that. It's like a horizontal, like a box, different box, and each and every box you will get all of your element. Like each box will have one element, and second element, and so on. So each and every element in an array is called array element. Each variable of array is referenced by a particular integer number, which is known as index. Array index, it is very important. So you have array like this. So each and every in a box we will have a array element, which is actual data. But we can we can reference each and every single data or element by a indexing process. So array is follow indexing process to reference your each and every element in your array, and that's indexing process is called array index. Okay, and array index is started with the 0, like it started from the 0. So 0 will have the first element, the first index, and the second index is 1, and 1 index will have the second element. So one index number 1 refers to the second element, index number 2 refers to the third element. Okay, so and so on. The total number of variables in an array decide the length of the array. So if we talk about the length of your array, the length of your array started with a 1. So whatever number of element we have, if you have like 10 numbers in your array, so your length would be 10. Just please remember, the length started with the 1, so number of element equals to your length. But indexing, which is the reference, number used to refer your element, and so indexing is started with a 0. So your index is always less than of your length. Okay, hope you understand. This is a very important concept for array, the indexing process as well as the length. The length is simple. The number of element you have in your array is the same your length. If it's a 10 number, your length would be 10. If it's a 6 numbers, your length would be 6. But your index will be always 1 less than your length, because index is started with a 0, and we use the index number to refer a specific element. Okay, if we want to retrieve the data, the first data from your array, we have to use the index number, which is the 0. So if you use the index number 0, it will able to retrieve or fetch the data as according to index number, which is the first one. Okay, now next let's see that how we can declare array. So this is the important concept, right? In Java, array is an object. Therefore it is declared and initialized like an object. And we know that when you say object, we have a, you have an object, it means we can create an object by using new keyword in Java. Okay, we'll see. So first is the declare of a array. So you will have similar like a variable, say array is a variable, or a b c d whatever it is, and then you will have a data type, like what type of array it is. If it's an integer, if it's a string, whatever the type of data you are going to hold in this variable, in this array variable, you will type the data type, and after the data type you can have there is a the bracket. Okay, so this bracket, it means one dimensional. We'll talk about there's a different dimensional array we may have, like one dimensional or single dimensional and multi-dimensional. So this is means just an array. Okay, this side. So you can initialize this way, or you can initialize the regular way we said, like you can see here. You can initialize also the other way, like array, the variable name, and then the return type, and you can put this sign at the into. Okay, let's see here. Here's an example. You can say this way, the variable, the return type, and the array size. You can put this one also this way. You can remove this. Okay, you can do this way too. It means we know that when you initialize any data to a variable, we put the variable, and then we put the variable, and then we type the return type, and for the array you have to just put the array sign. So you can do either way. I mean, I prefer this way. It's like, because it's similar, like the basic concept, declaring any value to a variable. Just only the difference, this sign. Other than it's same. But the rest of the initialization is different. We'll talk about the initialization. Let's see. So now we declare. Either way you follow this way or this way, it's fine. So this is the just declaration. Okay. So now next question is like how many elements can you can hold, an array can hold? How can we know this? So it means to know how many elements you can your array can hold, so we have to we have to allocate, we have to define it. So next step is is to allocate memory for an array elements. So to do this, we have to declare that how many elements we can hold in this array. This is the variable name, is array. Okay, again, don't get confused. This is just a variable name. You can be a b c d, any variable. So assume that this is array is the variable. So now we have to declare that how many elements this array variable can hold. To do this, we have to create an object of that variable. So because, as we said here earlier, in Java, array works or treated as an object. So if you want to create an object, you have to use the new keyword, and after the type of your array, like if it's an integer, then in a bracket, between the bracket, you can put the length of your array. Like if you have 10 elements in your array, so you can put 10. If it's a 20, you can put the 20. It's up to you. It depends on the number of elements you want to hold this array. Okay, so now then it's assigning array to array variable. So it's same how you assign it. So it just after you create the object, like new integer, and then the length of your array, and then you can put this one in a variable, whatever the variable you wanna call for this array. It's just a name for the array. Like array is the name. I'm giving you array is the name. So then initialization of an array, if since array following index number, you can see index 0 1 2 3 4, and so to initialize any value, any element to a specific index, we can use like the array, and then the number whatever the number you want to put this value, so like index number 0 1 2, so and then you can put the value. This is a single number initialized to a single index for an array. Now if you want to put multiple numbers, this is the way. Okay, you don't have to put here all the the number of length of your array. When you have a multiple data in an array, you can keep it just empty. You can put here the length, no problem, but you can keep it as the empty. Like you can, here is a number like 34 56, this is the fifth number, there's a 5, yes, 5 number, so all are integer, so you can type this way, and then you put this one in an array variable, and then it's your return type like integer and your this sign, or you can put this way. There's a, or both are right. So here is an important thing, as I said, array follow indexing reference. So indexing reference is started with 0. So if you have a number like 34 56 7 23 34, and you can have a multiple value, that's fine, and then multiple same data, but have to be type would be data type have to be same. You have to make sure that if it's a integer, all the data have to be integer. If it's a string, all of them have to be string. You can't mix them. And now it started with the index number 0. The first element it's in 0, zeroth index, and second element it's a 1 index, and so on. So the last one in the 4th index. But if you think about the length of this array, its length is started with a 1. So 1 2 3 4 5. So as I said, your length would be the same as the number of element you have on this array, and index is always 1 less than your length, because indexing started with 0. Now, so why we need an index? To retrieve the data from your array, we use the indexing. We use the index because index work as a reference for this specific element. So any any one of the data or all the data you want to retrieve from array, we have to follow the index, because index works, as I said, as reference. So it's your data or element is tied with the index number. Okay, so assume that this is my array and integer type of array, and it has a 5 numbers. Okay, now I want to retrieve the data from there. So, and this is the just comment just for understanding. Okay, and so if I want to retrieve the data, what can I do? I can just use a for loop. I hope you know how the for loop works. If you don't understand, please watch the videos related with the loops, especially for the for loops. Okay, I would say integer I equals to, I would start for loop. This is my initialization. I want to start with the 0 index. Okay, because my first data is in 0 index. Then I would say I less than. Okay, now it's what would be the condition? Condition, it means how long I want to run this loop. I want to run this loop as long as I have a data in this array. So how many data I have in this array? It means I can find through the length. Okay, so what's my length? My length is, I know, 1 2 3 4 5. I can type over here directly 5. Okay, or I can use a length method. It will automatically find the length of this array. So I can use length method of what? Of this array. You can say array dot, you can see there is a length. Okay, this is the method. Okay, this is a Java built-in or library function that will find the length for a specific array. So it will give me the length of my array, and then I can say I plus plus. So I want to increment because I started with 0, and then I want to get the next value. I have to increment the value of I, so which is the 1 2 and so on, right? So I have to increment the value of I. Now I can say here sits out, just print the value of I. Okay, Okay, let's see, run it. Here we go. You can see it started with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the very simple way. You can just say over here, let's put another print statement. So it's okay. The values of array are okay. So we can print this message, so it shows the message first and then all the values are there. So let's print it again, run it. Here we go. You can see the values of array are, so it started with the, oh, I'm sorry, it is here is a one thing. Okay, you see, so here is I print I is nothing, it's just index number, right? I is the index number, right? But I don't wanna print the index number, I need to get the value according to index number. So I have to use I to get the value of following index number. I have to say the array, I have to say like this, the array and then the I. Now run it. Here we go. Okay, I hope you understand that. So what I'm doing, I need to fetch the data. I need to fetch the data following the index number, right? Index number. So 0th index I need to 34, and when I is 1 I need to get the 56. That's why I have to say here, when you print it, get the value of what? Get the value of array, this array variable following index number. One is one is index I. When it's I, it's 0. It means get the value of 0 index, which is 34, and then increment the value of I is now 1. So next one will check the condition is true. Next will get the value of index 1, which is 56. Okay, so we have to use this way to retrieve the data. You have to give a array name, then in this same array sign, and then put your index number or your index variable. Okay, so I hope you understand that, and please watch the next video. We'll talk about multi-dimensional array. This is a single dimensional array. You can see just one single row, and it has a multiple data. What if you have a two row in your database, and you have a multiple datas in your database? So you may have, okay, that's called the multi-dimensional array. So we'll see what is multi-dimensional array and how to use and all other example. Okay, stay tuned and watch the next tutorial. Thank you so much.